When it comes to Cardano, they're doing it. What do I mean by that? The Cardano Foundation recently made a post saying how they're a gold partner at CV Summit. Now, what is this? It's basically a very massive conference that's going to be happening in September, and it's going to be going on in Zurich, Switzerland. I've been to Zurich twice before, by the way, very amazing place. But before I get all into that, and before I talk about why I think this could impact Cardano, I first want to say how nothing I say is financial advice. I'm not telling anyone to do anything. It's just my opinion, perspective, and outlook when it comes to this. Now, if we take a look at it, for instance, if we take a look at CV Summit 2026, now basically, again, like I mentioned before, it's going to be this very massive conference. It's going to be happening in September in Zurich, Switzerland from the 29th of September to the 30th of September, right? Now, if we take a look at that right there, this is a very massive conference, or an upcoming conference, I should say, that's going to be very centered around, the blockchain space, AI, and all that, right? So this is a massive deal when it comes to Cardano, just because the CEO, which we all know is Frederick, and I'm talking about the CEO of the Cardano Foundation, he's going to be there. And by him being there, naturally, it's going to be an amazing networking opportunity for him, right? Because now, even though, okay, some people, or I'm assuming a lot of people probably at that conference already know what Cardano is, for those who don't know, now they have a chance to maybe know more about it. And also maybe Frederick, who again is the CEO of the Cardano Foundation, he can maybe interact and actually communicate with other projects, other CEOs of some projects out there we don't know, or maybe whatever project is there. And then it could spark some ideas, some collaborations, some new partnerships. So this right here could really have, I think, a long-term implication for Cardano moving forward. Let's just think about this. It's like, for instance, those car conventions? Imagine we take a look at all those brands that are there and whatnot, right? Is their intent necessarily to sell as many cars as possible sometimes at those events? In some cases, not really. Some of them know that their product is more niche. Some of them know that, hey, you know what? Even if we don't recoup the cost to actually attend that car event or rent the space, they know that at times it's a networking opportunity for them and a time to kind of showcase what they're all about. So it's not necessarily a net negative for some of those, car brands out there that end up, having a space at these car conventions, right? That's the way to take a look at it. And it's kind of no different here when it comes to the Cardano Foundation, again, announcing how they're literally a gold partner when it comes to CV Summit 2026. Yeah, I mean, it's not the same as a car convention, of course, but at the same time, it's kind of like the same concept, in my opinion, where at a conference like that, all these projects that attend, or the members of the team, I should say, it's an awesome time for them to kind of showcase what it's all about. And it's also going to kind of give a credibility boost, in a sense, when it comes to Cardano, just because being at that massive of a conference, it matters a lot. And keep in mind, this is, I think, a fantastic time when it comes to Cardano, just because recently the Van Rossum hard fork did happen, which is a very massive thing. And again, because that happened, Cardano is now hypothetically more secure. And actually, the Van Rossum hard fork is going to potentially allow for an even more massive upgrade moving forward. And eventually, it could very well allow for the mainnet of Leos. Now, Leos is supposed to bring tremendous scalability when it comes to Cardano. So if we take a look at that right there, now with all this going on when it comes to Cardano, Frederick is going to have more to talk about, basically. When it comes to Cardano, people like to say, well, who really cares about this? But we have to think about this. If, let's say, through this event, right, it increases the brand image when it comes to Cardano, even despite the market not doing the best, and let's say in September it's also not doing the best, even despite all that, it doesn't really matter, because as long as Cardano is put out there, it sometimes does matter eventually if the market were to recover. Need I remind people, before the 2021 altcoin season happened, a lot of people thought that Cardano was cooked. They thought it was done. But guess what? ADA in 2021 reached around $3. Not long before that, it was hovering at around a couple cents, keep in mind, when it comes to ADA. So we got to think about that. Cardano historically, time and time again, has showcased that because there's still things going on, and because they've been through multiple, market downturns, they've been able to navigate those waters, so to speak, right? They've been able to navigate through those scenarios. So this is nothing new for them. People like to say, well, this is so bad when it comes to Cardano. Keep in mind, this is nothing new. when it comes to Cardano. Cardano back then was way lower than right now when it comes to ADA in terms of the price, right? ADA is Cardano's native token, and also way back then, Cardano was nowhere near as good, fundamentally speaking. So Cardano's been through much more tougher situations in the past. So this is really nothing new, but especially as of right now, again, I think it kind of showcases that historically, time and time again, because Cardano, things kept going on, eventually people did care when the market did recover. So it's no different here, in my opinion. It's not like Cardano's only been around for like a year or 2 years or something like that, and this is the first time it's ever experienced, a downturn. That's not the case. This is like a walk in the park when it comes to Cardano. They've been through this. They've done it. They've done it many times before, making it through times when people didn't believe in it. But the difference is, as of right now, Cardano, in terms of its native token called ADA, is literally ranked 16th in the world. Now, I get it. At one point, it was ranked way higher when it was at its peak. But I'm saying still, even with a market downturn as of right now, ranked 16th in the world. And not only that, Cardano's just a much better project, I think, than before. And of course, what I mean by 16th in the world is its ranking in terms of market cap within this space, in terms of ADA, its native token. So I'm looking forward to that when it comes to Cardano, again, in terms of the CV Summit 2026. And if we think about it as well, this doesn't seem to be the end when it comes to Cardano, because again, if Leos were to come eventually in terms of the mainnet, it would be game, set, match when it comes to Cardano. Not in a bad way though, but I think it's actually in a pretty fantastic way, because if, let's say, through the Van Rossum hard fork, Cardano has tremendous security improvements, which allegedly it does, and let's say through Leos it has amazing scalability, well, what else is there really to do, right? At that point, it's just kind of like waiting for the market to change, because the fundamentals at that point, it's already really solid, if that were all to happen. But that's a big if, but I'm just saying, it's like, for instance, building a Ferrari. I mean, it's a Ferrari, right? Now what needs to happen? Someone needs to acquire it. That's it. It's waiting in the showroom. You know what I mean? So when it comes to, in the case of this, I know it's a different, example, but if Leos were to happen in terms of the mainnet, well, it's already like a pretty set layer one blockchain in terms of the fundamentals. Now, at that point, it's just waiting for the market to change. Really, that's it. Because if the market were to change, if it were to recover, what happens? Usually developers enter back in again, right? And if a lot of developers enter back in again, they usually want a place that has conditions that are favorable for them in terms of having good fundamentals, good aspects to it. And because Cardano, we've seen improvements happen throughout this entire time, it's going to better receive mass adoption later if it were to come. So that's the thing. However, as of right now, I get it. People are like, no one cares about that. That could take quite a while anyways. ADA is still at around 17 cents. Yeah, I'm totally aware of this situation as of right now. But again, things can be low as of right now. However, at the same time, I've never seen a permanent bear market ever when it comes to this space. And also on top of that, when it comes to ADA, is being low necessarily such a bad thing anyways? Well, it depends on the perspective, because to me, it's not really, in my opinion, even though I'm not telling anyone to do anything, because the journey back to $1, it's around 6 times from where it is as of right now. $1 isn't even that good, by the way, when it comes to ADA. When ADA was at $1 last year, it wasn't like it was top 3 or top 5. It just wasn't. And still, $1 was considered quite bad when it comes to ADA. So when people like to tell me, oh, if this never overtakes Ethereum, that means it's cooked. I disagree with that, because when ADA was at around $1, it wasn't overtaking Ethereum. So ADA does not need to reach a legendary territory at all. I mean, again, ADA currently, as of right now, again, right, the journey back to $1, the journey would be around 6 times. And again, if ADA could just go back there, I'm already, going to a restaurant in terms of Sizzler, because that's my favorite restaurant of all time. The reason why I say that is because it's just a showcase, right? ADA does not necessarily need to do any sort of groundbreaking figures for me to kind of, I guess, be somewhat happy, I suppose, just because we're so far away from $1. It'd be different if ADA was hovering at around 50 cents or whatever. If, let's say, it held up a little bit better, then okay, maybe going back to $1, it's really nothing that special. But because we're literally around 17 cents, going back to $1, it already feels like a altcoin season to me, even though it wouldn't be, but I'm just saying it would already feel like one to me, just because we're so low compared to a dollar. And we just saw a dollar literally last year, and a dollar isn't even that good anyways when it comes to data, because its peak was at around $3. That's just my mindset. But I'm not telling anyone to do anything. I'm still waiting. I'm still dollar cost averaging once every approximately 30 days, and that's kind of it. But again, that's just personally my mindset, my outlook. And again, I just want to say, I'm not telling anyone to do anything. But nonetheless, seeing how Cardano, in terms of the Cardano Foundation announcing how they are a gold partner at CV, or should I say at the CV Summit in 2026, pretty cool in my opinion, and I think it kind of showcases what's going on behind the scenes. But I'll be sure to make more updates moving forward when it comes to Cardano, so hopefully y'all stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a very happy day.